In this video, we're going to focus on where flounder are most likely to be within a given area, how to fish that area, and we're going to do it in less than 10 minutes. Fat Dad Fishing Channel is all about helping busy people catch more fish in less time, and that's what this video is all about. The specific spot I'm going to identify is literally among my favorite spots to fish for flounder, not only for quantity of fish, but also quality. You can get some big fish here, and that's a drop-off. Let's start right here with a satellite view of an area. And this is just a typical area, and you can actually see a couple of boats in here, and they're most likely fishing for flounder. It's a common species in this area. And what they typically do is they'll drift in this direction on the outgoing tide, and this direction on the incoming, obviously affected a little bit by the wind directions, but they're going to fish generally in this area in this direction, back and forth. This second area up here, back and forth, and this third area right here, back and forth. And the reason that they do that is they get long drifts, so they can run the boat to one end, set up at the top of the drift, and take advantage of all of that real estate before they have to move the boat again because they encounter a bridge or another structure at the end of a fairly long drift. And I'm going to show you a view of this that's actually more important than this one, and show you why they're not quite drifting correctly and they're not fishing this area correctly. All right, so what I was showing you before was the view of the Google Maps. And what I typically do in these videos and in my own personal preparation for a trip out is I'll look at the Navionics view. So you can see here, you still have the satellite overlay on the sides. You can see the land and the structure on land. But you actually have a topography of the bottom of the water that you're going to be fishing here, and that's really what's important to me. So I'll just circle here the three drifts that I had initially spoken of that are going to be what you'll most likely be seeing the boats doing. They're taking advantage of the long real estate that they have in front of them. They'll take advantage of the long drift so they don't have to move too often when they're out there, and they can keep their line on the bottom longer. The problem is, if you take a look at this, there's not a lot of structure on the bottom there. And as I mentioned at the very beginning, flounder are very aggressive ambush predators. So they don't want to sit in the middle of the football field to try to ambush somebody. That's not how you would ambush somebody. You would stay on a different level. If you're in a football stadium, you want to ambush somebody, you don't go down in the field. You're going to be in the stands somewhere hiding on the different levels. You're going to take advantage of that terrain on the sides. That's exactly what flounder do when they're feeding. So you see this one drift up top going from left to right would be terrible because you're essentially looking at the depths going from 3 feet to 3 feet to 5 feet to 4 feet to 2 feet. There's nothing there. The second one is this area here, which is a very long and slow downslope if you go from top to bottom. And you see it'll start up here at this bridge at around 5 feet, go down to 7, 9, 10, 12, 14, all the way down to 25. That's a little bit more interesting because at least there's some structure there, although it's a very slow and gradual slope down into what appears to be a very nice hole at the bottom right here. And then the third drift that you would commonly see in this area is this one over here on the right, either top to bottom or bottom to top. If you're going top to bottom, you're going to start in some deep holes here with a lot of structure. That right there would be an outstanding place to fish for flounder, and I would actually cut the drift off right about here where it gets up to the 15 feet again, because as you can see, when these lines are spaced out as they are in here, it's very flat. So there's not much going on there. If you're targeting an ambush predator, you want to look for it where it can actually set up an ambush, and this is certainly not it down in here. So we've identified two interesting areas in this section. The one in the top right here looks outstanding because you have multiple different holes in here where it goes from shallow to deep and then shallow, then deep. Definitely two holes next to each other. And if I zoom in a little bit, you can actually see the varying depths here and multiple areas in here that look like decent drop-offs to try to target these flounder. So I would definitely be fishing in these areas right here, over here, down here, and straight across the middle if you could as well. But I really like where the lines are closest together, and that's where I would target most of the time when I'm fishing this area. The other area in here that looks good is down in this area. Now, again, it's not this drift from top to bottom. That's a slow, gradual drop, but look at how close these lines are here. This is a severe grade. So it's going from very shallow. You can see the green up here is essentially land, all the way down to 25 feet, and it goes fairly quickly. So I would actually drift this entire ledge here, and I would take this direction coming up through here and try to fish along that depending on which way the tide's going and the wind. If I could set up a drift going that way, I would take advantage of it every day, every time. So again, this is one small area, but you can see 2 spots in here that are good, and look at the rest that are not good. You might even want to try over in this section over here. You get a little bit of a drop off from the land or the bars down to about 11 feet, but really doesn't compare to these other 2 areas that I showed you. So again, if you want to target flounder, you look for where the ambush can be set up by them, and that's going to be something with a lot of structure, a lot of variation in the depth, and it's these ledges that you see here, these drop-offs. So excellent place to look. So I would suggest that anybody that is planning on going flounder fishing, spend a couple of minutes during the week to do a little bit of research online, and you can identify places like this that are likely to hold the fish, and you can leave out all of this other area that I'm shading right here that is just not going to be as productive. You might catch some fish there, but not a lot, and certainly not the big ones. So if you can cut all of that out of your target area and just focus on these 2 areas right here, you're likely going to have a very good day on the water. So hopefully you see from this video how you can find specific spots within a larger area, in this case specifically a drop-off, where you can fish and get more productivity out of your time on the water. If you'd like me to do a breakdown of your specific area and find spots within that, I'd like to do videos that are helpful to specific people. So send me an email at rich@fatdadfishing.com, and I'll go through and see if I can get a video put together that will show you specifically how to maximize the time on the water that you're going to be fishing. Second, if you'd like to do this on your own, there's a video popping up on the screen that will show you how to find inshore spots, and it'll take you through all the technology that I used online in order to identify these spots within the areas. And then lastly, there's a playlist popping up for catching fluke and how to do it better. It shows spot breakdowns along with the catches that I had in the last season. Hope to see you in the next video.